Lando, great to see you back in the paddock, obviously. First question, how are you? How were the checks at the hospital? I know you had your elbow x-rayed.
Yeah, I've been better, yeah. But I'm good. I think just a bit bruised, obviously with quite a big impact, and I think my body's just been thrown around a little bit. But no, I'm good. I'm I think ready to race for tomorrow. Yeah, I want to get back on track already because didn't end the way I wanted it to. So.
And it was looking so good up to that point, top in Q1, top in Q2. You were able to find grip seemingly where no one else could. Talk us through, what happened in that moment.
Yeah, well, like you said, everything was going extremely well since the first lap in Q1. Things were going perfectly, and the car was feeling hooked up. I felt confident with the car, I guess it was tricky going out in Q3 because even on the out lap, I was saying how wet it was and saying it should be stopped or something because I was aquaplaning quite a bit. So it was just a difficult situation to be in. How much you want to push, how much you're not, and I think it's a combination of pushing a bit too much for the weather at that point, aquaplaning a little bit in the middle of Eau Rouge, which obviously doesn't end too well, and ends up being the way I was in the end. So. I don't know. Of course, I feel bad because, like you said, things are going very well. The car was on fire, and the Q1 and Q2 were extremely good, and I think I could have quite easily fought for pole position. But I've now given the team a lot of work to do, and probably a very late night. But not a lot I can do now.
Some drivers this weekend have said that it feels like there's a bit more of a bump at the bottom of Eau Rouge this year. Do you feel that, and did that have any bearing on the incident?
There's like a different tarmac strip at the bottom, and definitely makes it a lot trickier, especially in those conditions when it's that wet. I think it was one of the first laps where it basically wasn't flat out, and it wasn't like I tried to do it flat out on my first attempt. I still lifted and whatever, but. I think there was you get these tram lines from where people go, and as soon as you go at the speed I was going, a little bit offline, you just kind of hit all the standing water, and the wet tyres with how much water was coming down, these bumps as well, like you said, in the bottom of Radion going through Eau Rouge, just was too much for what I had to do. So I think in the end of the day it's, I guess, my mistake and my bad, but I didn't feel like I was taking too many risks at the same time. I think it was just the conditions were so tough, and from what I heard, a lot of other drivers were complaining that it should get stopped at the same time. So, of course, frustrated and annoyed, but to try and make up for it tomorrow.
A lot's been spoken about in recent weeks about the runoff up on the inside going up into Radion up there. I know in the driver's briefing you guys were spoken to and discussed the new plans that the circuit have put in place up there. Can they come soon enough?
It would have been lovely to have that already, but I think safety's like on the top of every list nowadays, and rightly so. And I think today, my crash showed, and of course I got a few bruises, but that's it. Comparing to many years ago, it could have been a lot worse. I think there's been sadly too many things going on in such a corner. Of course, we love keeping things the same. We love the historic part of Spa, but in terms of a safety point, there's been so many crashes lately and over the past few years, which have led on to obviously many bad things happening, which we obviously don't want. So I think it's the safety for everyone, and I kind of maybe wouldn't have avoided my crash today, but maybe wouldn't have been quite as bad. So I think they're doing what they're doing. FIA and everyone who's putting it together is doing what they can to make sure it's as safe for everyone, and that's extremely important.
Finally, of course, there's a Grand Prix to be had tomorrow. Things were looking so good up to that point. No idea yet where you're going to start, whether it's from the pit lane or a little bit further down the grid than you would have liked. How much are you looking forward to getting back in the cockpit and getting out there and showing everybody the result that should have been on track today?
Of course, I'm just excited, just that I'm okay. Obviously the car wasn't, and the boys have got a big job to do to putting everything back to how it should be tomorrow, and I don't think we know just yet the extent of everything and where I'm going to be starting on the grid tomorrow. But Of course, I'm very happy for George as well. I was watching in the ambulance on the way. I wanted to watch Collie still, and yeah, I was cheering on George to go for that pole. So yeah, excited. You know, Spa, anything can happen, and we obviously had a good pace. The car was really nice to drive today, and it's cool. You know, it's fun conditions to drive in. Maybe not quite at the end, but the whole of Q1, Q2 was, you know, it's challenging, but it's what we love as drivers, and hopefully it's not too bad tomorrow, and I can try to come back through.